Welcome into another high school preview show. This time, Coach Weathers at Westside. What's going on, Coach?
Hey, man, how are y'all doing?
Can't complain. Good to have you on for the second year in a row. Got Espo up here, too.
Yeah, good to be back.
And no doubt, we'll kind of start it off right here. Let's talk about last year a little bit for you guys.
Being the first year, we talk about this a lot, but to have expectations is a dangerous thing, right? So my goal last year was let's just get the foundation set. Let's get guys in the right mindset, right place. At the end of the year, we won 12 games. I think they won 7 the previous year. We ended up getting a couple of huge wins at the end of the season. We beat a really good Easley team that played for the Upper State Championship, beat a really good Greenwood team. We ended up beating Powdersville. I was as proud of that win as any of them with the way they finished their season. It's just, and the good thing was I had a really young group last year. At the time we had 14 juniors in the program, sent 4 seniors off that did a great job for us last year. We finished the region with a winning record for the first time, and we couldn't even figure it out. We were 8-7 in one of the tougher regions in our state in 4A. And, all that being said, I felt like last year was a success for a lot of reasons. It took some time, but the guys bought into the culture aspect, the expectations, and they started holding each other accountable. Those are big things that we noticed last year. And, and then we went on the road twice in the playoffs, and we had to go to Airport first round and, competed our tails off. We were winning 2-1, bottom 5, just couldn't find a way to win. They ended up getting a couple key hits, and then, we left their place with a really tough first round loss. And then go to Riverside, and it's the same story. We led 3-0 for about 4 1/3 innings, and it just kind of, fell apart on us. But, and I told them last year, you can't learn how to win those games until you're in those games. Right. And, some of the biggest heartbreak, some of the biggest adversity we face, it doesn't happen to us. It happens for us. And, a lot of the stuff we went through last year, I feel like will propel us this year. And, we'll be able to handle that adversity better. Like I said, we have a huge senior class. I got 10 seniors, 6 juniors coming back that had varsity experience last year. So, we're looking forward to it. But last year was fun. It was stressful, but they always are. And, I felt like we grew a ton as a program, and I'm just looking forward to getting back at it again here soon. So
now you talk a little bit, or you talk about those seniors and those juniors returning back. Touch upon some of those older guys that you're looking to return to help you guys lead your program to making that next jump and that next step forward.
Yeah, so the senior class this year, when I took the job last year, everybody was talking about that junior class, that junior class, that junior class, and they weren't wrong. They're super talented, really good kids. Tyler Scott comes back after being an all-region pitcher last year. He accounted for 3 of our varsity wins last year. Had a sub-2 ERA for the season. He was the freshman. As a freshman, he was the pitcher of the year in their region. So, but he was coming back from an ACL tear last year that he suffered during football. And, he actually didn't play football this year. So he was able to take part in our fall open season and, our DP team. And, just a great amount of experience, great leadership from him. He was going to lead off for us probably. Tyler Scott's a big part of this team. Jackson Holmes will be back this year. Jackson started at third base for us all last year, hit the ball well. He's going to be one of our top pitchers again. Sub-3 ERA, had 3 victories. He's just a bulldog, gets on the mound and competes. Will Thomas was an all-region first baseman last year. He led our team in home runs. He hit 4. He had about 25 RBIs last season, hit like 360. I could go on and on. MJ Lee will be back as one of our middle infielders. He's a highly touted young man. We do get an injured player back this year, Landon Gettings, who missed all of last season with an elbow injury. He's going to be back this year. Had a great fall. The bat started to come around for us there at the end of open season. And, we're looking forward to having him back somewhere in the infield. It's a good thing and a bad thing. I got about 9 kids that can play anywhere in the infield, and trying to find them playing time is, I tell them all the time, if you're hitting, you're playing, because defensively, we've got so many guys coming back that, we can plug and play just a bunch of places. And then you add in Phoenix Herndon. He's going to be our starting center fielder. Big time kid, can swing it, runs around like a deer out there in the outfield, tracking everything down. He's going to be a great leader for us in the outfield. He spent all of last season in the outfield. He's going to hit in that 5-hole for us, probably. Look for him to generate a lot of, runs, a lot of production for us there. And he's, he runs like his hair's on fire on the bases. Sometimes I have to reel him back in because he gets a little too aggressive. But I'd rather have that than, the timidness. And then, there's so many of them. Jackson Barbie will be back, big, tall, lanky, right-handed pitcher. He's about 87, 88, on a cold day. So I'd like to see what he looks like when it gets warmer. He pitched a lot last year for us, pitched well. Jace Haynes is another one. He's going to be on the mound a good bit for us, going to play right field most likely. Really has started to come along. He's one of the few left-handed bats we have in our lineup. So, we need him to be productive for us in that aspect. Trying to think of all the seniors we got. And then, add in a guy like CJ Alexander, still raw, really runs like crazy. He's going to do a good job for us running the bases. And then the junior class, we bring back Brody Caudle, who's going to be behind the plate for us. And he is the most mature 16-year-old kid I've ever coached physically. One of the strongest kids I've ever seen. And it shows when he swings a bat. It's dangerous exit speed coming off that thing. And, we look for him to have a big year behind the plate and maybe as a DH some. We are getting a senior back that did not play last year, Sean McElrath. He's going to be behind the plate as well. He's going to be productive for us in that aspect. Give us some quality innings behind the plate. He's just a good leader, understands the game, understands the ins and outs of being a catcher. So that helps a lot. Peyton Milford, he was a sophomore last year that ended up pitching for us tremendously down the stretch. I'll never forget, we played Powdersville early. They have bases loaded, nobody out. And he comes in and strikes out the side, to get us out of an inning through 4 scoreless innings that day. He actually is the one who got the win against Easley later in the year. Like I've said it before, but he's got that bulldog mentality to him. He's just as tough as nails. He's not the biggest kid, but man, he's got the biggest heart and just knows how to pitch. I think that's an underrated thing sometimes with high school kids. They're always worried about their velocity. And, I always tell them, nobody cares how hard you throw a ball for. Like I want you to get out there and pitch, hit spots, mix it up, location, and he does a great job for us. And he's going to be a huge part of our rotation, not just this year, but obviously next year too. And then Caleb Christian, he's a young man. He's going to be a junior this year. Was probably our top JV pitcher last year, but he has matured and really grown up over this past year, and he's going to be a big part of our program as well. So, there's several more. Jacob Holmes, he's going to be a junior this year. He had a couple home runs for our JV last season. Was dealing with an arm injury. Seems to be a prevalent thing in high school baseball now, but he has fully recovered, and we expect big things from him. He's fast as lightning, very deceptively fast. So he's going to be a big part of our lineup as well. We returned 8 starters from last year, 8 position starters, 6 pitchers who accounted for about 90% of our innings last year. We got a very experienced team coming back, and we're excited because of that experience, but also because of the steps we're taking, off the field too. So I'm excited. I kind of didn't narrow it down to the top returners. I talked about everybody, but I expect big things from all of them. So, and they do too. So we're excited about that.
Coach, you talk about you got all these returners coming back, predominantly older team this year. What about some newcomers? May not be a lot, but some guys that didn't quite contribute a lot last year that are kind of stepping onto the fold this year.
Yeah, so I mentioned Caleb Christian. He's a young man that brings a lot of intensity to our dugout sometimes, a little too much, and have to reel him back in. But but he's a heck of a ball player. He's a younger junior. He, in fact, and I don't think he'll mind me telling you this, but he understands. We've got 10 seniors on this team, and he came to me a couple weeks ago, and Coach, how do I get in the lineup? Like, what can I do? How do I help the team? And we had a good conversation, and he has really bought into that idea of moving from the infield to the outfield, because that's kind of where we need that help. And he's so athletic that it makes it look easy. So I think Caleb Christian is going to be a big part of our program this year. Jacob Holmes, like I said, minus Will Thomas and Brody Cottle, I don't know that anybody hits it as hard as Jacob Holmes does in our program. He controls the bat, hits it to all fields. The problem is where are we going to use him? We need him in the lineup, so it looks like he's probably going to settle in as our DH, and that way we can use him on the bases when he is getting on, and we're looking forward to that. But as far as newcomers, that's about it. We got so many guys coming back that it's hard for some of our younger guys to really crack that thing, but which is a good problem. They can get their experience in other ways this year, and then hopefully be ready for us next year on that varsity level. But we got 16 solid guys that we're gonna take with us when we hit that road and go play. So I'm excited about that.
Now, you kind of touched on a little bit earlier at the beginning about expectations, right? And every year, right, it's kind of moving and changing. I know this year across all of high school baseball in the state, it's really changing because of the drastic changes that's kind of happened across, people making jumps from 2A. Some have made jumps from 2A to 4A or whatever. Some of the top teams from 4A moving to 5. And I know there's some changes in y'all's region and whatnot, but obviously a very difficult region you guys are playing in. But with that group coming back, speak upon some expectations you have for this group in this 25 season.
Yeah, I'm going to sound like a broken record because I say it every year, but man, expectations are a very dangerous thing, because when we talk to our kids, we don't. I don't ever mention region. I don't ever mention playoffs. Our goal is to be the best team, the best version of ourselves every day. So the expectations don't change from year to year. Like, we want to be as competitive as possible. I think it's dangerous when you sit there and you put years on the back of T-shirts because that was the last time you won the region or something, and you're striving for that goal. Because say you have a great year, say you win 22 games, but you finish a game out of first place in your region, all of a sudden it's hard to find the positives because that one goal you set, maybe you didn't reach, right? I mean, and you can go back and look. There have been so many teams that have won state championships in this state that did not win their region. That maybe were very close to not even making the playoffs sometimes, and they just get hot. So for me, I don't like talking about region stuff like that. Our expectation is to win every game we possibly can, and to learn from the games that we don't win. One of the things that we talk about this year a lot is that adversity is going to happen, right? In fact, it's already happened in some cases for us with some injuries and things like that. How do you learn from it? Like, your mindset in that time frame is what's really important. And adversity does not happen to us. It happens for us because it's the greatest teacher. So my goal for our kids is, every day show up with a winner's mentality and just dominate the boring basics of this game we call baseball. And if we do that, we're going to be successful. We killed it this fall. We gave up 4 hits in 5 games, and I hated it because there wasn't a whole lot of adversity. But, the expectations are going to be there from the outside. They can, y'all can do whatever you want, diamond process, whatever. The expectation for us is let's go dominate every day, the boring basics of trying to be the best baseball team we can be. And when we do lose a game, don't pout about it, grow from it, learn from it. You either win or learn. So for us, expectations don't change year to year. I'm not going to sit there and say, hey, we have to do this for this to be a successful year, because that's a dangerous thing for me. So,
Coach, I know you're pumped for this season. You get all those guys back. I know we're excited to come out and watch you guys play some of the best facilities in the state of South Carolina in high school baseball. but nonetheless, we appreciate you hopping on and kind of talking about your guys going into the spring.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all. Appreciate what y'all do for this state and the kids in it. Y'all do a lot of good for us. So
we appreciate it, Coach.